Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of Sour Graps, the NXT Tuesday edition. I'm your host, Alex Pulowski. Everything sucks.
We tried to tell you.
We tried to warn you. We've been warning you now for a very long time that everything sucks. You just thought it was like just specific to wrestling, but no, I globally just everything sucks. I was trying to get ahead of the game, but whatever. Kate is here. We're going to talk about NXT. It happened tonight because of some other thing took precedent last night, and they couldn't do NXT last night. So, we're going to talk about NXT over on this channel, but elsewhere. Sean is talking about AEW, but we're going to talk about NXT tonight.
Alex, there's an issue here that I set the bar very high last time. We went head to head with Sean. Okay, I got Mansoor. We did one of the... I'm just going to say it. I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard. One of the best bits in Fightful history, I think, is a fair thing.
No, you would not be out of line in suggesting that.
Thank you. Objectively, one of the best bits in Fightful history.
For sure, yeah.
So here's the thing. I had Mansoor on last time we went head to head, right?
You did.
You know what Sean tried to do? Steal Mansoor out from under us.
Mm-hmm.
However, Mansoor's on a plane because booked busy. We love it.
Yes.
We love that for Mansoor.
We love that for him.
What I said was I'm going to try and get Dijak because I feel like that's the perfect continuation of things.
Oh, okay.
But he was booked and busy. And then when he couldn't do it, I said, what if Ben Bishop, Big Trouble Ben Bishop, who's so funny, could come on as Dijak because they recently had a match and he's very, very funny. But he had a comedy show tonight. So I said, let me see if Shazza McKenzie can come out just to bury Sean because, we love to bury Sean with Shazza. We love
burying Sean. Yeah.
She's traveling to Chicago because she's booked and busy. And look, I'm happy for all of our wrestling friends being booked and busy.
Right.
But it's really cutting into our bits over here. I don't really appreciate it. And most of my other connections wouldn't make sense because they're on the AEW side. So I couldn't. I got to be aligned. I got to keep consistency. I have better continuity than the WWE brand does sometimes. So I'm very upset. I'm nervous. I'm nervous Sean might pull someone. I'm nervous. It might affect the ratings. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But get in your super chats. Get in your humper chats. We didn't do that. This is your NXT post show for November 6th. Please leave a thumbs up on this video as well. We always appreciate that. Helps us out in the algorithm. And subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. So we got our usual rundowns back. We got Corey Brennan getting scoops over there. All sorts of stuff. More contract news. All these PLEs and pay-per-views coming up. And Alex... It's seemingly the cycle that never ends. So
So my daughter is really into right now asking what acronyms mean. What does that stand for? What does this stand for, Daddy? And so when she watches me watch, wrestling. So what does WWE stand for? World Wrestling Entertainment. What does AEW stand for? All Elite Wrestling. And what does NXT stand for? Next. It doesn't stand for anything. It means next. Well, then where's the E? I don't know. And if she asked me tonight, what does NXT stand for? I'd have to tell her, I don't know, but the X stands for extreme. Extreme.
NXT is where we were at tonight. There were so many nostalgia pops.
Yep. Yes, there were. But somebody raised a point on social media about the idea of ECW, what ECW was to wrestling and its whole vibe. Like if this version of NXT was concurrent with the ECW that they're trying to have nostalgia for, that ECW would have crapped all over NXT. They would have done little skits about shit. Like they would have hired child actors to play these people backstage reading actual NXT strips, but like 8-year-olds doing it.
Yeah.
They would have been merciless about it. So it's very funny. They're like, you know what feels very extreme to us, very ECW, of course, is the current NXT product. Let's send them to the ECW arena. It's the 2300 arena, but it's whatever it is. And we're bringing back some people that not a lot of people remember. There are a lot of people who I know who were not watching at the time because they were not alive at the time.
Correct.
So don't know who Dawn Marie is at all. And considering all she added to the match that she was special guest refereeing, she might as well have just been a referee.
Yeah. I'm not like, of all the nostalgia pops that were on the show tonight, and there were so many, I think the one I was most excited for was honestly Nunzio.
Well, yeah.
Like for Tony D, I was so excited for that. But like, look, what's kind of funny about NXT and ECW is, to your point, like not only would ECW tear apart this version of NXT, like they just are the most polar opposite ends of the spectrum to each other.
They really are.
And my taste is literally
whatever you like. There should be things at different ends of the spectrum within the spectrum of wrestling. But the idea of like, you know what, belong together, this version of NXT and ECW, just is a false statement, I think.
Well, it's kind of fun because if you go to the current ECW arena, it fits NXT perfectly. It is so sterilized now. Yes. There was something cool. I saw Roxanne got to sign the original ECW graffiti, which is cool. But because the products are so dissimilar, if you're going to do an ECW show, you kind of have to do what they did tonight, which is load it up with all of these nostalgia pops. Outside of Bully Ray taking up so much oxygen in the build to this, if you were going to do this many, I think they actually did an all right job about how they were incorporated for the most part tonight. Because this wasn't a PLE. Like they're not building out long programs between people. The most egregious thing to me in all of this is that Trick Williams got pinned. Like that, we're going to talk about that when we get to it. But tonight, Women's Showcase at the end, Javon Evans just continues to be one of the most insane wrestlers I've ever seen. So like the things that were my favorite didn't really have ECW involvement.
Right.
But I get why they did what they did. And for the way that they incorporated things, it wasn't the worst. But
yeah. Ryan Lambert says, just want to show love to all you lovely peeps.
Thank you, Ryan Lambert. We love you around here.
Yeah. Tom LaValle talking about Nyxx says that vowels are overrated. Just ask Jazmyn Nyxx. And Ryan Cicchini says the ECW styled intro did rule. Yeah, but you could like, I've seen a lot of fan made like old intros to like 2002 era SmackDown or 1998 Raw, where they take all the production and the song and they just put in highlights of current wrestlers, and that looks cool too. But it, like, you know what I mean? If they could do anything. So yeah, I mean, it was well done, but like cool. a lot of the extreme stuff they were showing, and there was like, you know, a back handspring. You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't. Didn't feel like quite like an ECW as well, but yes. Right,
I'm just gonna call it for the chat happiness puns, just like sunshine, rainbows, smiley face puns, just feel good puns. I think everybody could use that tonight. Flowers,
anything that could
poppies
could cause happiness. Yeah. Luis says that they should have had Paul E do the intro or book the show. That might have been better. But I wonder if they're just really having him sell, having been power bombed through a table 4 months ago, and so he's not allowed to be out here anymore.
It does kind of feel like if he's going to come back, it has to be to that angle with where the angle's at right now, especially. Like it begs for him to come back to it. Yeah. But it does feel very weird. You have Paul Heyman signed to your company. You have ECW running the ECW arena, and he's nowhere to be found, but all these other people are. Did feel out of sync, but I can understand why they would do that creatively.
They should have had him come out wearing the really gigantic leather trench coat,
of course,
and put in the ponytail in under the ball cap, and had him like do a full on Paul E. Heyman speech, because it's not the same guy. He's not the wise man. He is having time traveled from the distant past. He is now here to do an introduction. That would be nice.
They didn't even really splice in his footage too much. You know what I mean? They could have even done like old ECW footage things with this, but yeah, we can dig into that episode. Get in those super chats and humper chats.
So Jaida Parker and Lola Vice, with Dawn Marie as the referee.
Yes, she looks great.
Yes, she does. They had a hardcore match, and here's the deal: like Kate. Like, you know how it's a long standing pet peeve of mine that anytime they have a no DQ match, they decide to call it something different.
Yes.
You know, like, oh, it's a Philadelphia street fight, or it's a what is it called? An old fashioned Donnybrook match, which just means that it's a hardcore match with weaponry. Yeah. It's a trick or street fight, which means somebody's going to wear a pumpkin on their head. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they're all the same thing with specialized weapons or whatever, but it all means the same thing. Everything's legal. So tonight they had Vic Joseph tell me this is the first ever women's hardcore match. And Jaida Parker was in a street fight like 2 months ago. How many women's street fights have they had? Like lots of women's no DQ matches. Every time they did a Hell in a Cell. That's basically, I mean, like it's, you know what I mean? Like the idea, oh, it's different. It's a hardcore. It's not. All these street fights end up using weapons. So it's the same basic idea. That's just funny to me.
Yeah. And I do think, it's kind of funny because they didn't call this like a Philadelphia street fight.
No.
Like of all the ones that could have had a fun name, some sort of ECW throwback name would have been so appropriate here. Like, this is an ECW style street fight even. Like, they could have gone that simple with it. But they chose not to for this one.
Yeah. But Louise asking, why was there no blood in a hardcore match? Because CW.
Yeah, there was also they actively talked about how there was going to be blood between Ethan Page and like in the last main event. So, if they're not going to do it in a steel cage match, they're not going to do it here. But yeah.
This was very good. Both of them like knocked the crap out of each other. Used weapons to great effect. You know who's got a fantastic 3 amigos? Lola Vice. And nobody else should do that. Just give that to her. That could be her Latino thing. You know what I mean? Like,
and there's not a lot of women doing that either. No, like, that was really cool.
She's got a great one. I love that the third one is a DDT.
Yeah,
that's a cool little wrinkle. I love how Jaida took it.
Yeah,
because she was selling how because she was taking the suplexes onto chairs, so that's extra. But good for her for selling the extra. Because she was like, God, and she could not. She was like Lola got to her feet and had to pull her up to standing to give her the second one. That's how this should be done. Every time I see way too many 3 amigos. Like at this point, it's 30 amigos. Like it's so many amigos that I have seen. This just amigo after amigo after amigo. 3 is far too few amount of amigos. But I've seen so many amigos, and most of them involve the guy who's being suplexed or the girl standing up first and the other person following, and that's not how the move works. So these two knocked it out of the park. That was great. All these really big spots, ugly stuff with chairs and crap, all great, really good. Lola kept trying to sink in the rear naked choke One time they rolled to the floor and it got broken up, and then she did another time in the ring, and Jaida reached for a brick that was not there. I need fan cam to show me the stagehand who walks down there and just sets a brick in the corner, because that brick wasn't there a minute ago. Jaida didn't put that there. Vic Joseph even himself said, where the hell did that come from? Because it just dropped out of the sky and landed perfectly in position for Jaida Parker to pick up a brick that was not a brick. I won't say it was styrofoam, but it was not a brick. No. Because if you hit somebody in the head with a brick, there would be blood.
There would be. There would be
blood, of course, is the unfinished prequel to There Will Be Blood.
Yes.
But which would have given Daniel Day-Lewis another Oscar. But
it's true.
But you can't just have like surprise brick and then just like, she's fine.
That was begging for a trilogy too, to be There Was Blood. Like I really feel like
there had been blood.
There had been blood. Mm-hmm. Not an NXT story, but this was mostly very good. I think they understood the assignment of what they were trying to do. It had a blow-off feel, which I feel like some of the, I hate to do this, but like a lot of the times that we see women's matches that are women who have been developed through the NXT system, they're very good at executing the moves, but the grit is not there. These two had a little bit more grit. I think there still could have been a little bit more of like with facial expressions and stuff. Jaida Parker really succeeds in that arena. I think we could have gotten like a little bit more of that out of Lola Vice. That's my only kind of nitpick here. And it's pretty nitpicky of all, because these two did beat the hell out of each other, but just like a little bit more of not, I came to beat the hell out of someone, I came to beat the hell out of you, I think could have shown up a little bit more.
Right.
But overall, I thought this was very, very good. I also noticed the brick thing. Was like, well, that wasn't there. And that's notably not a brick.
Just like from the way she was grabbing at it, like she would like got a little palm, like her finger on it, and kind of friction just had it lift off the ground and back down. And if that was a brick, just that much friction from your middle finger would not have lifted it up off the canvas in any way. So like immediately you know what it's not, and what it's not is a brick. I'm not really sure exactly what it was, but it wasn't a brick. So it wasn't styrofoam either, which is what I thought it might have been, because when it broke in half, all the little chunks that were inside it were also red. And if it was styrofoam, the chunks inside it would have been white. So good on them for not using the most obvious prop. Correct. But the problem, even more so than the no blood, even more so to me than the brick just materializing out of thin air as if conjured by a sorceress, was the fact that she hit her full force in the face with the brick and then she kicked out. And it was like,
yes,
okay,
she did.
That can be the end though. And instead the end was boing, 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 butt in the face. And I was like, it's a really good butt in the face. That's the best butt in the face that I've seen.
In the biz, yeah.
The extra boings really added a lot of the velocity to the butt in the face. However, I still feel like no matter how many boings you're doing, I don't care how many boings you put in front of the butt in the face, the brick to the face does more damage than the butt to the face. That's just my own personal thoughts on the matter.
I'm very much inclined to agree, even if you are in fact a brick house. The actual literal brick to the face should be inflicting more punishments. This is a good step away from particle board skateboard. It did not fall apart in midair, so good on them for that. But those are all things that like come with experience, even, right? Of how to handle a fake brick is like, that's a weird thing as a wrestler when you're in a wrestling match and then you have to grab for something that's supposed to be way heavier and more damaging than what it actually is, right? So all those things will come together. We're really in the weeds with those, but overall, this did what it was meant to do, I think. So very successful. And Dawn Marie was great. Like, if you knew who she was, that's fun. If you didn't, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't detract away from the match. So
no, it did not take anything away from the match. And it was just also like they didn't have last week. I didn't forget there wasn't a thing where Dawn Marie talked with Jaida Parker and Lola Vice. I know what happened tonight because tonight was the first match. So like there was no connection beyond like, here is somebody who used to work for us. They are the special guest referee. Like she didn't like have a chance to like meet with them and say, here's what we're gonna do. It's an ECW thing, so I'm gonna let a lot of stuff slide or whatever. Like there was no connection between her and her charges for this particular match. It's just weird that they would.
No, they are special guest referee perverts at this company at this point. She had no biases, no inclinations towards anyone, and that's not her fault, but it is to the story. So it is kind of odd that you would have a special guest referee who has no vested interest in the outcome of the match, like at all. Not even leaning one way or leaning both ways. Like, I've never met you and I'm here to referee your match. It doesn't even feel like you're a special guest referee. It just feels like you're the referee for the match.
Yeah. Before we move on to our next thing, we have Tim McFowle, who says can't watch live, but sending love to our US SGS fam. Have a great show. Also taking husband applications for anyone that wants to move to Canada. So
I might message you. We're going to see how that goes, though a lot of Canadians not super optimistic about their upcoming election. So
I see.
Might be doing a 90-day fiance situation. I might find someone in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Kim Gray says redheads rule. Love your hair, Kate.
Thank you so much.
Meet Normus says I've been wandering around all day like Ron Burgundy when he got fired, yelling gibberish at strangers. It was 83 degrees, so indeed milk was a bad choice. Now, shall we crank? Everything sucks. I agree, Meet Normus. Everything sucks.
Underestimated line in that whole sequence is Will Ferrell just goes, "Hey, lady in the red hat." I don't know why, but it makes me laugh every single time the way he delivers that line.
JW Pringle says, amazing Alex, Killer Kate, powerful Papa Paul, and all the SGS. What a day. For those hurting, you are seen. For those celebrating, please be kind. I think that's about as magnanimous as you could possibly be.
That's my brother, man.
Thank you, JW Pringle, for being one of the best of us.
Yes.
And Louise saying, I did not know who Dawn Marie was when she was announced. Not to be a hater. I am 24 and did not watch early ECW, besides the main stuff and the Japan excursions or Ruthless Aggression era. Cool to see her get some love, though. Yes, the crowd obviously was cool with her being there and was like, yay. So good for her.
Yes. They know their demographic, I think. They know that it's this would get the viewers that they usually get to tune in.
Right. So we see Kelani Jordynne doing the RVD splits.
Yes.
Formerly known as the Jean-Claude Van Damme splits. But RVD stole them from him, and now they are his, and now she borrowed them for one night. And he's like, hey, so great job. You got really good balance there doing that, because I guess when you do that, you fall over a lot. So gymnastics. And he's like, you know what you should do to really stand out? You should try to be the person in the match tonight who gets the pinfall on your rival. And she's like, I never thought of that.
Brilliant.
Thank you, RVD, for telling me the most obvious thing ever.
What would I do without this sage veteran advice that is being guest spotted here today?
I just love that he's like, you know what you should do to stand out? And what she would like, oh my God, what? Please tell me. Oh, should I do like the spinny, like leg drop thing from the apron to the barricade? Because I think I could try and pull that off. He's like, you should try to be the one in the 10-woman tag who gets the pin. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, but do it to the woman whose championship you just stole the championship from you. So you should do that to her tonight. That would be how you would stand out.
Look, RVD's like, a stoner. What's her excuse, man?
Great.
Yeah.
So then she's like, I gotta go get ready for my match. And he's like, hey, do you know where Ava's office is? He is in gear. He's got a t-shirt on over his singlet. He's wearing his knee pads. He's wearing his boots. He is in gear. I believe he has his wrists taped. He is in gear. I do not know what the plan was for him to do tonight. He says last week, during the fight between Wes Lee and Javon Evans backstage, when it was broken up, he stepped between them and says, I just had a great idea for what I want to do next week on the show. I don't know what the great idea was. We never found out. He was going to go talk to Ava about what that idea was. But then before he could do that, he was attacked preemptively by Wes Lee with a chair, kind of off screen. And then that was it. And then Wes Lee went and had his match, and then we saw RVD do his thing. But I don't know what the plan was for him to do anything beyond get attacked backstage and then vaguely insinuate himself into the match at ringside, but not make actual contact with either of the performers.
First of all, RVD, who's definitely watching, watch the product. Okay, you should know that it's not just the parking lot anymore. And the parking lot around the 2300 arena, you could legit get beat up in. That's not even a work anymore. That is not a great area. But backstage, people are going to be taking you out all the time. So maybe he was in gear because he was like, I need to be prepared for such a thing.
Yeah.
I felt like for sure they were setting up a triple threat with RVD, Wes Lee, and Javon Evans. That seems so much like the game plan of coming out of last week. I don't know if something happened. We can certainly ask Corey about that. Like if he was injured or what it was.
Yeah, but he could have tweaked something training, and they were like, that's why he didn't do anything at ringside, and also why they staged the backstage attack the way they did, while never showing anything being done to him actually on camera. Because like Wes Lee pushes past the camera guy, and the camera lands, and all we see is like RVD's legs, and then the camera gets picked up, and we see Wes Lee standing there with a chair.
Yeah, so that reeked of like I got unexpectedly injured or something.
Yeah, could be.
I gotta say, like, I really felt like this product needs baby faces, so I wish Wes Lee was still working babyface a little bit. The turn, obviously, with MSK and everything was great. He's really good at stuff like this. Like, that was one of the more natural. They had to do some camera work to cover up what's going on with RVD, but, like, the attack from off the camera coming in was one of the more natural ones we've ever seen. Like, he's just very good at every aspect of this, so good on him.
Yeah. So the match. Oh well, we'll get to that in a second. No, I'm gonna put these things together. So here we go. The match: Javon Evans and Wes Lee is great.
Excellent.
It's great. Just amazing stuff between these two. I love how the referees they said the referees have been instructed to use their discretion throughout tonight because it is at the ECW arena.
Yes.
So basically, like, you can get away with a lot. Yeah. But the referee uses this discretion. So the referee said when Wes Lee brought a chair into the ring, I don't think you should use the chair on him. I feel like that's a bit much. I mean, you could do a lot of stuff. I won't count you guys out. Maybe I'll be hesitant to do a rope break, but like, you can't just hit the guy in the head with a chair. I'm drawing the line at chair. And Wes Lee was very upset by this. But they did a thing where they had him do the cardiac kick, and Javon Evans kicked out, and they made a big deal out on commentary. And that was what got him so pissed he went and got the chair. Javon Evans did just a regular cutter, and then went up to do another one, but Wes Lee rolled out of the ring after his giant springboard cutter, and then kind of baited Javon Evans into doing a suicide dive and like stepped aside and like helped propel him further over the announce table. That was really cool. And this is basically where RVD came down to stand at ringside. Like his music hit, the one of a kind theme. He came down. The crowd went nuts for him. He stood there. I thought for sure, because Wes Lee was holding the chair, I thought for sure we were doing the Van Terminator spot.
Sure,
He does his jumping back spin heel kick to the chair, which bounces into the dude's face. But we didn't do that spot. He just swung at him with the chair, and RVD ducked, and then Javon Evans did hit the suicide dive this time, and then rolled him back into the ring, and then did the big cutter, and then went up to the top rope. And I thought he was going to do a spiral tap or whatever that is that he does. This
so cool.
deal.
Yeah.
But instead, Wes Lee rolled to the absolute other corner. And he did a frog splash that didn't quite make it. And the problem I have with it is even if you took 5% off of the distance, it still would have been the furthest I'd ever seen a frog splash hit.
Agreed, yeah.
And I was like, this is twice in the span of a month that you have been like, I want to do the craziest version of this thing ever. And then made it 5% too crazy. So the move didn't land. There was like his crazy jump way up into trying to do a cutter to Randy, but Randy does a cutter to him. Would have been enough. But he said, I'm going to do that, but also spin. And then Randy's going to mistime it for the and it didn't look perfect. This time, he tells Wes Lee, keep going. I'm going to jump all the way. And maybe in rehearsals, he did it. But this time, he landed on his toes and then fell forward into it. And again, if he had even if he had been 5% closer to him or 2% closer to him, he would have landed it flush and it would have been the coolest thing ever. But because he made him keep going, go long. And he throws it 80 yards in the air, but the dude is standing 82 yards downfield. Like 80 yards in the air is amazing, but you wanted the guy to go too far. And that was like, there's such a thing as being really exuberant and fun. And, this boy is bouncy and being like a little too confident and exuberant. Just dial it back a second, just a teeny bit, and everything would have been perfect. As it was amazing, but it wasn't landed flush. And I know because of who this kid is, he's like, dang it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And all you got to do is just not be that much more exuberant. That's it. You know what I mean?
He is a sight to see. Javon Evans. So and good. I don't want how great Wes Lee is to get lost in this because he was excellent in this too. I love that he is a wrestler in NXT who is smart. He's smart in the ring. He rolls out of the way of a lot of shit. Like he's a smart wrestler.
That's smart. They made him cagey, which is really good to do with a heel of his stature.
100%.
Because he's not going to be a guy who beats you up a lot, but he is smarter than you by half. That's a really great thing to add to his repertoire as a heel.
Oh, it's so great. It showed up all over the place, and it really works when you have athlete, phenom, young, like the story is there of KG veteran, young phenom, what's going to win? Battle of intelligence or just raw talent that is so insane. I think you already said this, but it bears repeating. Whoever else has a cutter in the game, just stop. Just stop. Like, his cutter is so insane. I was thinking that today, and I was like, I think Alex already said that actually a couple weeks ago. The frog splash just missing was like a little bit of a bummer, but him and Montez Ford they need to do like a skills tricks show, like the original NXT. It could just be the two of them.
I mean, honestly, this version of NXT would just make it into a combine. Like,
it's true. A combine.
How bouncy are you? You know what I mean? Yes. Let's put everybody on a trampoline and see how high they can bounce. Like how can they jump really high and tap those things like they do at the combine?
That's right.
And that's what they do. They just do that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But Alex, what was so impressive about Javon Evans was he got like way up on some of that.
Yeah, no, yeah. There are times I think where everybody would want to get way up.
It's so funny you say that, Alex.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right, but I think a lot of people don't have the ability like he does. Right. I think they probably need some assistance. And if you need some assistance getting way up,
Blue Chew, main event performance, main event confidence, and a main event deal. Go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL, and you will get Blue Chew with their first shipment for free. Shipment? Yeah, I said shipment. No waiting in line at the pharmacy, no awkward doctor's visits. You take their online exam, and then if approved, it's shipped straight to your door. That's right. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and much more affordable. How can you pass up on this? How can you pass up on that confidence? How can you pass up on that performance? How can you pass up on making your sex life better? That's what Blue Chew is here to do. You don't have to have a problem to use Blue Chew. Just get that additional performance. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
So that was a very good segue.
Thank you so much. You were like, I know where she's going with this right away.
Right. No, this was like the give and go. Like you pass it to me, and then I throw an alley-oop to you, and you just dunk it home.
Boom.
Boom. It's good stuff.
Basically Pippin right here.
Basically Pippin.
Guys, get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. We're having fun. We're hanging out. Well, real quick, remind you of a couple of other things as well. Leave us a thumbs up. FightfulSelect.com. You already heard, so great. But tomorrow, via sort of request, Alex and I are actually going to do a Dynamite review because he didn't get to review Dynamite tonight. So we're going to do that after the ROH show. So it's probably going to be a late night one, but we love our slumber party streams and everybody wants to hang out. So it'll be a really fun, really safe space behind the paywall to hang out and talk some Dynamite.
Fightful Select tomorrow night after Kate is done with the ROH show. We'll be back there talking about tonight's Dynamite, and I don't know. I'll probably talk at length about Kyle Fletcher's thighs. From
Randy Narton
from Collision and also from tonight. So if anybody needs to places to hang out with friends, the SGS is very welcome. Welcoming.
We're very fun and silly.
As kind of a bonus tomorrow night, so that'll be fun.
And it's Fightful Award season. If you are interested in the Fightful Awards, 100 buckaroos, baby. Contact me, but you get exclusivity on your category. If it's not already taken, you get reached to over 500,000 followers on social media. You get 30 to 90 second on-air read. You get inclusions in the descriptions of all the episodes of our shows. If you're interested, let me know. We have a lot of wonderful creators supporting us. We have Jennifer Gray, who's so wonderful. She donates spots to other creators. So a lot of value for a fair price. We try to keep it easy, especially for the award shows. But last year's got 35,000 views. Sean's gotten I think 50,000 more social media followers since. So hang out with us if you want to sponsor us. And the voting happens on FightfulSelect.com too. We did want to remind you of that. It is not an open vote to everybody. FightfulSelect.com. If you're subscribed, you can vote. And we think that keeps it really kind of balanced and a little bit more fair of a vote than, AEW stamp 4972 or Roman Reigns Avatar 789. Just voting straight up for WWE no matter what. So good stuff.
Yeah. Also good stuff. We got the FBI, the full-blooded Italians.
Yeah, this was my favorite thing that happened with the crossover.
Meeting up with Tony D'Angelo and family. Oh, okay. So Sean Spears apparently knows where Tony D is going in Philadelphia and meets him there with the Beach. The Beach is looking more and more like a shaved Sasquatch. His entire face is hair. He is 48% of the way toward those people like the dog-faced boy from the old sideshows. His beard is it's growing up his cheeks. It's his entire cheekbones are beard now. You know what I mean? His forehead is the only place that's completely clean on his entire face, which is great. I wish I can't get my beard to grow above the jawline. I want a big, nice, full, all the cheek that it just comes in so patchy. I'm so envious of Beej's dog-faced boy beard. I want it, but I can't have it.
It kind of has the Brody Lee as Luke Harper thing going for it a little bit. In a slightly different way because it's bushier, but it has that unkemptness about it and the fullness. Yeah. It kind of works for him, honestly. I like this look for him.
Anyway, so Sean Spears and the Dogface Beach are there trying to talk to talking to Tony D, and then in walks Nunzio and Tony Mamaluke, and Sean Pierce is like, all right, I'll recede into the background. Like he just didn't want to deal with this and left. But like Nunzio's like, hey, you don't return my calls? What's going on? I know that you're gonna be here, so here I am. So hey, we talked to Ava, and we got you a match next week versus Nikita Lyons. And I wanted Tony D to be like, okay. he's like, you guys got a lot of pull still, I guess. Oh, we got all kinds of pull in South Philly, which is why we got you this match for next week when we won't even be in Philly. That's how much we got in Philly. And he says, but I also got a match versus you tonight for NXT North American title. And I was like, all right, what does Nunzio have left in the tank? Turns out not much, but just enough to make this match a lot of fun.
Yes.
That he I don't know how old he is, but he looks every bit of it. But he's really moving out there. You know what I mean? Like it's good for him. I love the Sicilian slice. There's a lot, his leg drop thing. That was fun. He was like, the best part of all of this is that it didn't, I don't know if it was because like he can't really go anymore, or if it's because they were smart enough to recognize, let's make Tony look really dominant against an old man. You know what I mean? And he did. Like he took a couple of moves, but he brushed them off, and then he hit a gigantic stalling spine buster long enough for Nunzio to cross himself before he got spine bustered into the cold ground. That was a lot of fun.
So Nunzio is 52. That I think is the same age as Chris Jericho. He can jump better than Jericho. I'll say that much.
Sure can. Sure can.
This, I am an in-ring gal, as most people know. This was the least I cared about something in-ring in my entire life. Right. This is something that Tony D had said that he wanted, which anytime wrestlers get a chance to work with people that they want to work, especially when they're not the first names that come to mind. Right. When you think ECW legends, I don't immediately go to Nunzio, right? So I love that. I think it was so much fun that they did this. He sold the ending perfectly, which was kind of the thing that I feel like if you had to get something really great, the ending I think was
it was great. It was perfect.
It was perfect. And he held his own enough to get his ass kicked by someone who legitimately feels like they could kick somebody's ass. So I think it was probably a little of column A and a little of column B from what you said. Right. I think they want Tony D to look dominant against someone who's a little bit older. And Nunzio, it's been a minute, it seems like. Yeah. So he did exactly to what you were saying, what he needed to do to make this match work. I had so much fun watching this. I don't have nostalgia ties to ECW at all. I really don't. But this kind of just brought a really nice feeling into all of it. So some good stuff with this. This was all just this felt good. This was really fun.
Alexa Bliss Gamer telling us that Nunzio wrestled 14 matches this year, which I was not aware of.
I bet half of them are at ISPW. There's a local promotion by me that just books ECW legends like crazy, and I think he's kicked around there. Yeah,
that kind of makes sense. Ryan Cicchini says ECW alum spots were mostly fun. Crowd enjoyed it. Bubba more palatable as a tag, certainly. I will add, but then he says, "Love my fellow Italian Nunzio. Sorry about it." No, you don't have to be sorry about it. He was a lot of fun tonight. He was a lot of fun tonight. I would much rather them just hire him to be the guy who comes in and says, "Hey, boss, there's a phone call." You know what I mean? Have him be like basically Tony D's kayfabe uncle, who's like the guy who's the emissary from the family in Chicago who comes down to do stuff. They'll have these weird punchy bearded guys in fedoras occasionally to serve as mob dudes for Tony D. No, just hire Nunzio and Tony Mamaluke. Make those guys be it. I don't know who those guys are, but these guys would be a lot better.
They would be very, very fun. Very, very fun in that role. He apparently wrestled Hammerstein in TNA.
Hammerstone, yeah, that's
that's
I missed that entirely.
That's hysterical, honestly.
My favorite thing about all of this, well, actually, no, my favorite thing was the thing that I made up in my head. Isn't that the worst?
It so often is.
It so often is. That was the thing I made up in my head. Because I wanted him to. Okay, so it shows Shawn Spears and the Beach watching the end of this match. I'm like, you hungry, Brooks? Yeah, I'm hungry. All right, I'm good because I'm feeling Italian next week in Orlando. And then he walks off, and I wanted Beach to go, hey, yeah, but I'm hungry now.
I cheesesteak or something.
He's like, I'm feeling Italian. Oh, cool. Next week in Orlando. Okay, yeah, but I'm hungry now. So the idea of, because the thing that Beach does go is like, oh, I get it. Why would you ask a dude if he's hungry now and then say we're going to get Italian next week in a different state and have the dude be like, that makes sense to me? He should be like, no. Can we at least go to Gino's and get a whiz wit? It's
around the corner.
Come on, people.
I'm sure there was catering. Why don't they just go to catering? Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird that there's an ECW continuation into Orlando next week. That was a little odd.
Yeah. Luis saying Beach to Los Barbaros, and then he says also Smiley Kylie Ray. So here's some happy puns.
The pun topic is things that make us happy today. So.
Insert clever Nyxx and Newell pun has changed their name. From insert clever Tegan Knox pun to insert clever Nyxx and Newell pun. And
I love it.
Because it's about happiness. Happy Nyxx and Newell.
I love that. I have to say, I got a text message from my friend from home who said one of the first things she thought of when she heard that news, because she's so wonderful and supportive of me. She watches. She was like, what's insert clever Tegan Knox pun gonna do? Like, it was pressing on her. So thank you. Now we have an answer, and I love that for us.
Yes.
That is so delightful.
Great. Alan Jeanette says RK Joy.
Oh,
no, that's nice. Tom Lavelli says Jamie Lover. Not Jamie.
Oh, you
Hater.
don't want to be a Jamie Hater, be a Jamie Lover.
Jamie Lover.
That's a really good one.
Electric Mayhem says Alexa Pro Bliss. Elated Uno, not evil, but elated Uno.
Very sweet.
Giulia Heart.
Ooh, very nice.
That keep that one in your back pocket for Christmas puns. That's a good one.
We will allow you to recycle it.
I like this one a lot. Busaiku Glee.
That's like a top 10 pun of all time.
Isn't it though? Busaiku Glee.
Such a violent move.
Yes.
Such a Glee. So damn funny.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that one a lot. Ty Mello. Just
mellow. Yeah, I like that.
And Gladodon. Not Abaddon, but Gladodon.
Like especially with they them pronouns, that could go either way. You know what I mean? Like glad.
And then we got some other things here that are just kind of apropos of very little. JW Pringle says, who is the gobbledygooker's favorite composer? Bach. Bach.
Very nice. Very nice.
And then we're talking about Kyle Fletcher and him being Australian Randy Orton. So Alpha Bill says, may I suggest Randy Roo Orton? Because and also if Kyle was EO, he would be the thighs of the skies.
The thighs of the skies. That's fair.
It's good.
Hey, we got people coming from the other show here to touch tips. What's up? We're here for that.
Okay. So great. Hey, William Regal. Last week, William Regal is talking to Brian Pillman Jr. to Lexis King. I'm really sorry. I didn't no, nothing to apologize for, sunshine. You did what you had to do, and I appreciate that. Oh, okay, I'm gonna go. And walks away, and then there's Charlie Dempsey and all his friends. Who's like, well, he's certainly not his father's son, is he? What about you, Charlie? Are you your father's son? And well, I guess you'll have to stick around to find out, sir. Yes. By the way, the tag team division is wide open. I'm looking at you two. You, this one, and you, the other one. It's wide open. You two should be a tag team. I've decided to tell you this. Now I'm going to leave. But it's not just his group. It's your group and your group and your group. It's all of your group. I'm going to leave now. And then Ren goes, he's so fatherly, isn't he? And just friggin' tell us that it's their father and like acknowledge it, make it be a thing, as opposed to just dropping all the hints that why are we going around in circles on this? Just that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing. Just make them father and son.
I wonder if because the word was when he left AEW, like he didn't want to necessarily be a full-time on-screen character, so maybe they don't want to acknowledge it for him just to only be here for a minute. But here's the thing, I want him to be a
Oh no, Kate exploded. Where did you go, Kate? Kate, come back. Kate, what happened? Okay. Well, I guess we'll never know what Kate wanted to say about this. But that's about it. Hey, so I wonder if Eddie Thorpe has been wanting to talk to Ava about the weird booking of Lexis King currently, because you know how he was feuding with Lexis King, and Lexis King was obviously the bad guy, and Lexis King was Kate's back.
Trying to be. There we go.
What happened?
My computer wasn't charging, and I thought it was. So my apologies.
Oh, well, that is bad. But now it's charging.
We're so bad.
I was gonna say this dovetailing this last segment was started out with Lexis King into this next segment, which starts out with Eddie Thorpe. Maybe Eddie Thorpe wants to talk about talk with Ava about Lexis King's booking. Like, this guy attacked me while I was DJing at a club because he didn't like beat boops. And now he's getting TV time with William Regal.
Yeah.
And Ava's like, listen, I can't talk with you about that because frankly, I don't even understand what's going on with that. But I'm sorry, it's 2 weeks in a row. Really apologize, but I gotta go make a really stupid announcement that everybody kind of knew was happening anyway. Sorry. And Eddie's really upset with that. So I don't want to see like Eddie turn heel. He was but again, I forgot about this. Everybody's got to play face and heel at a certain time in NXT. So I guess this is just his time, because this feels like a thing you're doing to have him be very angry that he's being passed over and looked over and disrespected. And now it's all you people. He's going to cut one of those promos after he attacks somebody. So
we talk frequently about how stacked the women's division is from like a screen time perspective, and top heavy getting less top heavy because Zaria's in that mid-tier picture, I think. Like the men's singles division right now feels very shallow. And to me, it's like such strong language, but it's kind of inexcusable to have Eddie Thorpe not being used when he's healthy. And it also feels inexcusable to not have Duke Hudson lined up for single stuff like this.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
It is, like, especially when they are in dire need for it at this moment. Yeah. And those are two guys who knock everything out of the park, who are incredible workers, who have great looks, who have some size to them, that are stars that they could be making. And for them to not be using those two particular guys, I know I'm a Duke Hudson stan, but like when he had that match with Obafemi, everybody else saw what I saw, what you've seen from him, and they didn't capitalize on that momentum.
No.
We're through this Chase U story with Ridge Holland, it seems like. Why aren't we doing anything with Duke Hudson?
Well, that's the thing, is that like they also did the whole thing wrong. After Ridge turned on the group and put Andre Chase in the hospital, they had Duke get the first match with him. Yeah. Lose in 4 minutes, get the hell beat out of him, and he hasn't been back on TV since. As opposed to it being the little guy who's a hothead who can't be controlled. Duke tells him, I'm going to stay with Andre Chase in the hospital. Mr. Chase needs me to be at his bedside. Please don't do anything. Don't be too rash. And Riley says, screw that. I'm going to get my revenge on this guy. And then you have Ridge ruin Riley Osborne. Just beat the absolute dog piss out of him. And that further enrages Duke Hudson, who gets the first match with him, and they battle to a standstill, and it goes to a double count out, and they can't be controlled, and they're beating the hell out of each other on the outside. So then they get a rematch, and during that rematch, Ridge and they battle to a standstill again. They're both big, beefy, strong dudes, but Ridge blatantly cheats with a low blow behind the ref's back, gets the victory, and then beats the hell out of Duke. And then Andre Chase comes back, and then Andre Chase asks for the ambulance match, and then, because the storyline dictates this, Andre Chase wins. Or you do what the hell you're doing with Ridge Holland now, which I would not suggest.
Correct.
But even if you did that, the first part of that should have been flipped.
Out of order. Yep.
Riley goes first. Duke gets the 2 matches instead of Riley getting the 2 matches. You know what I mean? So
I agree. I think they need to, like even I saw a lot of people. I know Abu from Wrestle Purist. I think I'm saying his name correctly. Like, where's even Tavion Heights? Like, where are? It's such a slim division on the men's side right now. It really, really is. So, that was kind of my thinking with this Eddie Thorpe stuff. Was like, they need to expedite these segments because they need to be building contenders for these title pictures.
Tavion Heights had that amazing run in Japan, doing amazing things, learning great stuff, and they brought him back here and haven't used him. He had 1 match when he came back 2 weeks after he got back and hasn't had a match since. When you could have been doing things with him of, let's say you do the smart thing and you put William Regal with NQCC, and he's the one who's like, Ava, I like this Tavion Heights. I believe he should have more matches. And you give him matches against lower tier talent, level up guys. And he beats them, and he beats them, and he looks great. You give him more like difficult people to beat, and he beats them. You know, like
that's like 3 minutes of programming for the first 4 of those matches, and then you can build up or
do
whatever.
It. And then you get a point where like all of a sudden he finds himself in the Iron Survivor match. He doesn't win it, but he's in it.
Yeah.
And he looks great. And all of a sudden, now you got something. Right now, you got nothing. He's standing next to another dude who also doesn't do anything in a mid-card faction. Like, I don't even know. Like, what? Like, it's a complete waste of Tavion Heights.
I agree.
Ryan Giacchini says, don't be shocked if Eddie Thorpe wins the Iron Survivor. I would be shocked. I won't be shocked.
I would be shocked, but I would be happily shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked if he was in it. I would be shocked if he won it.
Yeah.
That to me feels like how you get Wes Lee his title shot, maybe. You know what I mean?
I hate to say it, Lexus King, if they're going to keep babying him.
But no, Trick Williams is the champion. A heel's winning Iron Survivor.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, Wesley's got to be it.
Listen, every time I do that, people are like, you can do face versus face. Yes, you can. They don't. So like they'll figure out a way to have a heel win it if there's a champion, and if that's early in the card and a face wins it and Trick Williams is defending it against a heel, you could bet the farm on the heel pinning Trick Williams so they can get that heel versus face thing. You know what I mean?
Well, and you saying Wes Lee and what we were talking about with him being cagey before and being smart, there's a lot of opportunities to make him look really great in the Iron Survivor match because of the style of it, like him being so in-ring smart with that style match and getting sneaky pins and stuff. Like he'll do great. He'll be great in that. That'll be really fun.
There was also another backstage in the saga of Adonis and Carmen with Dion Lennox there, who's like also just casually dropping the names of all of his conquests.
Which feels like, so out of character.
That does not feel like who that guy is.
Yeah,
no,
that was weird.
He's the bookworm smart. Like I know he's really good looking, but he could pull a lot of girls, but he wouldn't be like dropping their names.
No, he's not a frat boy.
Guy.
Yeah,
yeah, like that just doesn't feel right. So he's just that was very like wait, when was this? This is why I didn't watch both shows tonight, Luis, so I could focus. But you do you. No, I thought that her coming up and be like, what was that? Who was that girl last week? Oh, so you are interested, and she snaps back at him with something else, and they're like they're flirting, but there's like animosity there, so like it just all of this is bad because it's not leading to anything. No, because they can't have a match against each other, so this is just leading to them becoming a couple. What am I watching? You know what I mean? Like, is this an episode of Big Brother? Like, is this like it? Because it feels like there's a camera there. There's some guy in the back reading, just name dropping all of the girls he slept with last week.
Carmen Petrovich is gonna have a confessional where she's drunk and be like, I don't even like him, but like I kind of do. Unless she's gonna have an on-screen boyfriend who Ashante fights.
When NXT superstars stop being nice and start getting real.
The real world NXT.
Oh my God. Listen, honestly, that's basically what 2.0
It's not that far. It's not that far.
I love this spell finisher says setting up for Valentine's, which is 3 full.
That's perfect. That's exactly the pace they work with.
Yeah, 3 full months from now. That's the pace that they tell stories, for sure.
Her big reveal of who her boyfriend is going to be is Andre Chase. You just watch.
Okay, so Ava ends up going to the ring to make her big announcement with Stevie and Robert Stone, who we haven't seen on TV a lot, but apparently somebody found this out in the Discord. They've been doing mixed tag matches on live events. So
I thought you were gonna say someone in the Discord dropped that he was in an ECW like style match against someone in 2010 or something against RVD or someone. There was like a Robbie X throwback.
No, but like it's but like so that's what they have them go around the house shows and do that, and so I guess that's fun. But they announced that Deadline is the thing that's going to happen. We knew that it would be.
Yes.
If you look at the calendar, when it is on, like, it's always the second weekend of December. The entire time it's always been here, so we could have probably penciled in a date, and it will be the return of the Iron Survivor match, which we knew. So, like, Ava I have a big announcement. Like, I guess technically telling us the date of the PLE is a big announcement for like making like, I'm sorry, Eddie, I can't talk to you for 5 seconds. I've got to go make this big announcement. When you just could have dropped this on Twitter and, walked away. But
I want to congratulate them for managing to do an announcement without Triple H being there.
Honestly, it must have been so hard for them to resist.
He must have been busy.
Anyway, after they announced this, Robert Stone goes off on how not hardcore Philly fans are. That New York fans are much more hardcore. And also, who else did he name? Boston fans are more hardcore than Philly fans. Philly fans, then the lights go out and they come back up, and it's Rhino standing behind him. He turns around and gets gored, and everyone goes crazy. And I too enjoy living in the past. But it is fun. Everyone had fun. Great. This segment adds no value to my enjoyment of the show. It may have for you and good for you, but just this would have been like, if I was watching this having DVR'd it and did not actually watch to do a review of it, and this segment came on, I would have fast forwarded past the entire thing and not missed anything. It's my own proclivities.
He, I think, is he still, I think, signed to TNA? So, like, I think so. I think there's like a TNA Impact talent exchange thing there. Yes, this was, it didn't add any value, but it was also benign. Like, it was not, I wasn't like, get this off my TV. It didn't take that long. This was fine.
Right, fine.
This show also notably ended way closer to 10 o'clock than 10:15. I know they've been having some pacing issues, so that might have been very intentional, but this ended like properly at 10:03 p.m. or something, I think. So
no, it was very, very early. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, much earlier than usual, but they'd been really pushing that in a couple of the past weeks. So
it's a network show, so they gotta get to their reruns of Kings of Queens and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, his eyes are getting weary, his back is getting tight. Like, we gotta move into Kings.
We gotta move it along, people. Those syndication dollars ain't gonna spend themselves.
That's right.
They were walking backstage, and Stevie was carrying him. Fireman's carrying Stone on her back. That was, for comedy. And then, yes, it's true. Rhino does look like he ate a mini fridge. This is a thing I've always said about him. Since the first time I laid eyes on him 20 goddamn years ago. Like, did that guy eat a mini fridge like in a cartoon? I turned to my friend and I said, he looks like he ate a mini fridge. She's like, what? You like a cartoon would have like opened up and like ate a mini fridge, and then he takes on the shape of the thing that he ate.
It's the shape of him. It really is.
He's got a head on top, but his torso, it's like an absolute like rectangle. And also the solid nature of it. Like, he's just...
Yes. It's shapes. He's a shape of a mini fridge.
Anyway. But people also saying Stevie never skips leg day.
Good for her.
But anyway, Ava's like, go deliver him to the paramedics. I'm going to talk with the Blurry Boys over here. And he's like, hey, so next week I'm going to figure out who's your next challenger. And then she's like, he's like, so do we have to be there for that? No, I'll just let you know when I figure out who it is. And Axiom's like, great. So now we have more time to train. And Nathan Fraser's like, no, now we have more time to play video games. And that's, this odd couple, will they ever work things out? And so it's, it's whatever.
I kind of like it. I feel like they were legitimately, I have no idea if this is true. This is just a gut instinct. It felt like they were literally actually going to have them split legitimately. And then they just worked so well together. They said, let's keep them together, but we've been playing with this odd couple arrangement. Let's just keep going with it and see what happens. That's how it reads, because it really did feel like they were going to split at one point. So if that wasn't the case, good for them. They kind of pulled one over on us, but they're fun. They've got good chemistry. They're an incredible tag team, but it is very odd couple-y. Alex, there was a point where there was so much dissension. I would have put money down on them splitting up.
I mean, yeah, but where could you even do that? You can't bet on wrestling. That's crazy.
Alex, you're not going to believe this.
What?
You can bet on wrestling.
What?
You can do it right online, too. You don't even have to go to the horse track for this. You don't even have to go to a sports book. You can bet online at Bet Online. AG.
I want to talk to you guys about our great partner at BetOnline AG. Yes, the place that lets you bet on pro wrestling. We've gotten our pro wrestling betting odds from them for years, well before we even worked with them. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about them. They got the earliest lines, the fastest payout, the industry best bonuses. They've been trusted for 25 plus years because of their safe and secure environment and their quick payouts. But you can bet on pro wrestling. How cool is that? If you think you know more than anybody, go ahead and look at those odds. It's the same ones you've seen on Fightful for years. You might see one that sticks out to you and you go, wait a second, there's no way that person's going to win. Why are they an underdog? Make yourself some money. BetOnline AG. And hey, it doesn't stop there. Whatever sports you want, they got you covered. Popular games like blackjack and roulette, supernova, skyward, all that stuff. BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can at BetOnline AG.
Yeah. So.
Hey, quick plug for myself, real quick, since we don't do plugs at the end of the show.
You plug it. Plug it.
Sure. I started some stuff on my own YouTube again. It's been a minute. But my @Miss Kayfabe YouTube channel, you can go over there and subscribe if you want to. I'm trying to focus on shorter content, and what I started with was this 5 things series I'm doing, which is once a month I'm going to look at 5 things WWE and AEW could do better and 5 things that they're doing remarkably well from a non-creative standpoint. I will get to creative ones. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'll probably bring out other people for those ones, but 2 days ago, I put up the WWE one. I picked up like 120 subscribers or something just from that video. I'm over 1,000 now, which is a monetization benchmark. So thank you so much for that. The video itself has like triple the views I normally get. So you guys showed out so much support. My AEW one is going up tomorrow. I think there's a lot of really good stuff on it, but I just wanted to plug that and also just thank so many people for. I couldn't believe how many subscribers I got. I got to 969 and was so happy because I love my 69 numbers. And now I'm closing in on 1,069, getting very close. So thank you for those of you who have supported. And there's some really fun stuff coming up on the individual content creation front. So head over there and subscribe if you haven't already. I would appreciate it.
Good. Yes, you should definitely do that because, yeah.
You're not playing video games anymore.
I know I'm not. I just it's I was looking back on that series and realizing how many of those things was like me after this show getting on and then playing video games until like 3:30 in the morning. And I was just like, I just can't do that anymore. I'm 45 goddamn years old. When am I going to grow up?
You have a daughter.
I do. And responsibilities beyond that. So yeah, it was fun. I would love to get back to it. I just need to have the right times available and stuff like that. Anyway, so
peer pressure Alex into doing a cruiserweight classic.
That is a lot more easy to do because we'll just review a couple of episodes at a time, and
that could be really fun.
That's the thing that I want to do.
Like the baby ZSJ.
Right, exactly.
Your current IWGP heavyweight champion.
So, Stephanie, all the bad girls are all hanging out and like we run this place and we're the best, and that's why we got Jazmyn Nyxx with us. And she doesn't fit in with their thing. She never has, and now it feels even weirder. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. I think she's very talented, but she just doesn't fit in with their bit. You know what I mean? And it's just has always felt odd. But their little promo thing with the 5 of them, just like, we're bad girls and we're in charge. And then it's not really a promo. It's just all these the good girls, Giulia's team working out back there. And they'll look, fabulous. And then in walk Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, who are gloating after they were in the Fatal 4-Way at Saudi Arabia. So they basically just take talk crap to Steph and Giulia. And I'm like, okay, so this is, I don't understand any of this. I thought this whole thing with Lash and Jakara was to like soft launch them to the main roster and then dropping them back down here so they can take a tag team loss to Steph and Giulia doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you've been booking them as like on the level of Bianca and Jade on the main roster. Like it just, I feel like it doesn't, you've accomplished a thing, which is that you made them look like they belong at the top of the main roster women's tag division. And then they're going to drop them back down to NXT where they're going to lose to not even a real tag team. That just feels weird.
So if we can be so for real for a second, there's sort of an issue right now, and there's so many good things about it and there's bad things about it. We're at the point now where with Raw especially and partially SmackDown, where I think the NXT women's division is outpacing a lot of the main roster because of these new injections of talent who realistically are main roster ready outside of the like probably get them acclimated to American television first.
Sure.
With Roxanne being there, like the top heaviness in NXT, when you have so many heavy hitters out, Charlotte's out, Asuka's out, Becky's out. Right now, it is kind of like, what do you do with that? And what do you do? I don't know if I like it yet. There is value to the program floats across all brands, not just the belts float across all brands. But when you put them in a 4-way like you did in Saudi Arabia, which was one of the most fun matches on the card, by the way, like it does feel like they didn't just travel with the belt. It feels like they now belong because the other 3 teams, that's what it is. The other 3 teams are main roster teams. If you had 2 people going up from NXT or 2 teams going up from NXT, that would probably feel a little more even. But there is value with it going across all 3 brands and the talent following it across all 3 brands. But they've been spending so much time there and not here. It did feel like, well, are they just going up now? So, and they have to lose in this, right? Like they have to lose to Giulia and Steph. There's no way.
They have to. So
it is, they've created their own conundrum. There are positives about it, but it just makes it now kind of awkward back down in NXT land.
So we got our Ethan Page and Ridge Holland defeating. They got a match between them and Bubba Ray and Trick, and Bubba Ray made the match mostly about himself, as I feel like we all feared he would. And then, way earlier than I thought was going to happen, the match didn't feel like it.
It was so weird. This was at the top of the hour too. Like,
top of the hour,
yeah.
And I like the 10-woman tag getting the main event, but like it just didn't feel like it ever really started cooking. Maybe that's because Billy Ray was in it, but Trick ends up going for the trick knee to Ridge, and Ridge Holland outsmarted him. And right there, you got to retire. So, like, if Ridge Holland outsmarts you, that's it for you. You're cooked. Sorry. So he just dodges it and rolls through into a roll up and pins Trick Williams. What is the insistence upon making Trick Williams the most over guy on your roster into a weak champion? When he was super over when out of the blue, because you fired Mustafa Ali like the week before, he was supposed to beat Dominic Mysterio. You put Trick Williams in that spot. You book him to beat Dominic Mysterio, and 2 days later, he loses the title back to Dominic Mysterio. Then you make him the champion again, the NXT champion, by having him beat Dragunov. And then you have, like, he doesn't really ever get off the ground. Like, the thing with Noam Dar was weird. And then he's like, there was this, like, he had a Joe Coffey match on a house show, and then had the match with Ethan Page where he won, I guess, which ruined Ethan Page, but I guess, beggars can't be choosers. But like his whole thing,
he kicked out of the Ego's Edge, Alex.
He kicked out of the Ego's Edge, which ruined Ethan Page. I want them to make Trick stronger, and the way they made him stronger, the one time they made him look strong, he kicked out of the Ego's Edge, which is not the solution that I would choose. And then he loses the title to a guy who pinned somebody while unconscious off of a move that, like, they haven't done a lot at anything to make Trick Williams feel like he is a top guy. He's your champion. You made him your champion twice now in the calendar year of 2024. He should be your top guy. And it doesn't feel like this is a top guy champion. This feels like, because he just got pinned by Ridge, right? Considering what they did to Roxanne at the end of the night tonight, and what they did to Roxanne at Halloween Havoc, I wonder if you asked Shawn Michaels, give me a method, a way to build to a title match on a PLE. And you can't say the likely challenger pins the champion in a tag match. I think he would literally sit there for the rest of his life coming up with an answer, because the only answer he has is just have the challenger pin them in a tag match. That's how you build the PLE match.
You would spend the rest of his life.
He's literally doing the exact same thing with the men's top championship and the women's top championship. He's doing it twice with two different women with the women's top championship. When you say get another playbook, I say get another play. You have a playbook. You have one playbook, and in the playbook is one play.
Yeah. Furthermore, and most egregiously, what are we protecting Bubba Ray for? Honest to God. Like, why?
It's not about protecting Alex, Bubba Ray.
It's a nostalgia show.
It's not even about protecting Bubba Ray. Here's the deal. They feel like having Ridge pin Bubba Ray doesn't immediately get to, well, Ridge has got to be the challenger now to Trick Williams. They would have to do another step, another thing next week. And they don't know how to do that. So they just say, let's just have Ridge do a roll-up pin by outsmarting Trick Williams. Again, you're cooked. Hang it up. And and so that's what they do. They do that because they don't know what else to do. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Trick Williams, but I can see the dude is mega over and an absolute star, and you keep kneecapping him every time you put a title on his waist. Why would you do
Alex,
this?
Do you think maybe the reason we might not be fully in on Trick Williams is he doesn't get the opportunity to ever look good? Like, I think we'd be a lot more fully behind. You can see he's a star. I can see he's a star. Stevie Wonder could see he's a star. Everybody knows that, right?
Yep.
I never get to see what this guy is capable of in ring because you're always doing goofy ass shit around this guy when he has the title. He feels more important when he doesn't have a title than when he has the title. He's facing Pete Dunne. He's going after Ilya Dragunov. What the fuck are we doing? Why does he feel more important when he's chasing, and then when he finally gets there, it's not even like, well, the magic was in the chase, and then he had a short reign that was effective, but like, you've given him nothing. You've given him nothing. Ridge Holland, they're rebuilding him. I like it when people are smart, so I'm not as annoyed as you by that, especially when we saw him do like he did that cool thing on the outside with the suicide dive spot. Like, if we're trying to understand that he's a smarter wrestler, I'll let that go. But you have Devon Dudley there to come in at the end of this. He can't make some sort of save on Trick, and then Bubba turns around and gets pinned or something. Like, what is the obsession with making Trick look like an idiot? And why is it like, gotta keep Bubba Ray Dudley strong at the ECW arena? It's a nostalgia show. Have him take the pin, but we all don't give a shit because it's Bubba Ray Dudley at the ECW arena.
Ethan Page made sure there would be no tables at ringside. That was the deal, right? So after the match,
what if they yelled "get the tables," but they weren't at ringside, so someone had to go to the back, and they were just "get the tables," and they just had to wait.
Exactly basically what they did.
That is kind of, but if it was an egregiously long time,
right. No, it's true. We're all out of tables back here too. Okay, I think they sell those. We're going to Home Depot. There's got to be a lot of those in Orlando.
Everybody wait.
So after Ridge inexplicably pins the NXT champion for no reason, then Ethan Page and Ridge Holland start beating down Trick Williams together. And then Bubba Ray makes the save. And Ridge just gets to fall out of the ring and not have anything else happen to him for the rest. I don't know where he went. Because they have to protect Ridge Holland, Kate, because Ridge Holland gets the next thing. So he's out, but Ethan Page is still in there, and they beat him up some more. And then Bubba Ray says to Trick, get the tables. But he tries to, but there are no tables because Ethan Page had them removed. So what are you going to do? Oh, you bring out Devon, who doesn't take bumps anymore. And he brings a table to the ring. And then they set up a table and they put him through it. I believe that's what happened. And also, Trick got pinned, Lieutenant Colonel Photo.
You're not going to believe what happened.
He was watching. So then, also Devon gave Trick Williams a pair of Devon glasses. Also earlier, Bubba Ray gave Booker T a pair of Devon glasses. So I guess they're taking applications for the next Devon. Only requirement must be black. I guess that is the only requirement because Booker T and Trick Williams not, very much alike. So, and also very much not like Devon. So,
correct.
Just that's it.
One requirement.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's it. That was the whole. We did 3 segments, I think, of Ridge Holland running afoul of Bubba Ray on Halloween Havoc, and another 2 segments of that last week on NXT, so we could get to a tag match where Bubba Ray wasn't pinned by Ridge Holland.
Yeah, we built out this quick but very personal feud.
Why don't you have Ridge? Why don't you have Ridge pin Bubba Ray, and then they start beating? And then Ridge takes liberties with Bubba Ray, and Trick makes the save. But
perfect.
Ridge gets the better of Trick, puts him through a table, and holds the belt above his head. Hey, you see how Trick decides he wants to be a hero and helps Bubba Ray, but Ridge maybe does a low blow or something to get the advantage. And now you really want to see Trick kick Ridge's ass, but you didn't have Trick lose to a shitty roll up along the way, but you still get there. That's just another option I came up with in my head right now as just not the same thing that you're literally going to do in the main event.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Match agents talk to each other challenge.
So, too many fake Dudleys, says Luis. Where's Snot Dudley at? Where's Chubby Dudley? Sign Guy Dudley? Studley
where's
Dudley.
Sign Guy Dudley at?
I believe, unfortunately, Big Dick Dudley no longer with us. R.I.P. Big Dick Dudley.
That's upsetting.
Which is upsetting. We are losing recipes in Dudleyville, says Luis. We're not teaching our children about the Dudleys. So the big 10-woman tag is pretty great. Actually.
Yes.
The right women were in there for the right spots. Jordynne Grace got a crazy hot tag, beat up everybody. This was pretty good. Pretty good. We are in Iron Survivor season.
Yes.
So no doubt several of these women will be in the match, and even more of them will be in contention for that, for a spot in the match. So already at Halloween Havoc, you had Stephanie pin Roxanne, which to me signifies Stephanie is the next contender, because that's how you always do it, NXT. So that's how you do that. And then you run another tag here where you have a different woman pin the same champion. Now, you already did a thing earlier where Rob Van Dam implored Kelani Jordynne to stand out by pinning the champion that she wanted to have a match with next. And that doesn't happen. So rather than have, I don't know, Zelta pin Fallon Henley instead, and have Kelani be like, listen, I appreciate that you don't like the church that she interrupted you during your big match, but I need my title back. So I really want that title match. And when I win, I promise I'll give you the first shot, Zelta. And Zelta's like, I want that title. And when I win, I'll give you the first title shot. And then that turns into a triple threat where Zelta beats the absolute dog crap out of both women. And then Kalani's and then the way that she does stuff, Zelta then becomes a heel. And then she is the female Oba Femi. Because Oba apparently is gone now. He hasn't been on TV since he lost. It feels like he might be on the way up. They're just not doing with him now anyway. So give that mid-card title to a woman who's basically going to be that. Let her be the mountain that no woman can climb. And on top of that mountain, there is, for some reason, a brick wall. So that once you get to the top of the mountain, you have to then climb over a brick wall to find her there also on top of the mountain. But we didn't do any of that. We just decided, let's have Zelta pin Roxanne, which now is like Stephanie and Zelta versus Roxanne. And somehow
she was going after Fallon pretty clearly, though, too.
But now she pinned the top champion. I don't make the rules. She gets a title shot out of that.
Oh, for sure. But my point is, why did she show up for Fallon Henley then? To then be like, nah, I'm going to pivot toward the world title? Did Roxanne Perez lose some sort of dare? Why is she getting pinned twice?
I don't know. That's because Hickenbottom only has one Hicken playbook. That is it. That's all we got. That's all we got.
I've mentioned this a couple times. I might have even mentioned it on the show already, so bear with me. There is a segment in the Danielson-Nigel McGuinness rivalry where the blueprint for this rivalry is, in order to get to my title, you have to beat everybody I've beaten.
Well, I like that a lot.
It might be my favorite segment of their rivalry. It's really, really, really good shit. And there's something really fun about it because both of them are really hard-hitting. Both of them are technical. But Nigel's, really hard-hitting. And Danielson is, really technical. And at this point in their careers. And I think there's such a missed opportunity to run that play again, but to do it with Roxanne and Zelta. Smaller, but the Pop Rocks is so cool and she's so good in the ring versus person who's just going to knock you out. Having them have to beat the same people in such different ways feels like it could be so productive for this women's division that is thriving right now. That's a way longer term chase than they seem to be going for here. But God, it's is she going to win Oopsie-Daisy? Are we just doing everything in the men's division and the women's division the same? But there's, oh God, I feel like Roxanne is a heel with a face of either her size, or this would be actually really fun with Jordynne Grace because they already faced each other too. Like, oh my God, that blueprint is one of my favorite things that I've seen in a wrestling rivalry, and nobody uses it. And to do it with strong badass who can rip you apart and like really strong foundation, smaller, cagey in a smart way, Roxanne, who's as good as she says she is, like, oh, there's something that's so fun there. There's something that's so fun there that they're missing the magic of the builds because they've had such an infusion of talent. I feel like Giulia feels kind of, I hate to say it, she feels like unimportant right now. And she just got here. Like, they really just are like, she's a bad, what has she done other than, I mean, she's a great wrestler, obviously, but like, they have not booked her to be anybody important. She looks like an idiot with Cora Jade and nothing else. Like, there's, like, we haven't done anything. So,
like, Stephanie's amazing, and Giulia is amazing, and Zelta is amazing. They're all amazing. So here's my deal with this. Giulia shows up. She gets her big title match and the premiere of the CW. She loses. She gets pinned. Not in her first match, but in her first
real
title match, like her first real match.
Not a tune-up match.
She gets pinned because Cora Jade comes back. Where is the Giulia gets revenge on Cora Jade match? Haven't done that yet. That's there. Stephanie is now here. She's wrestling these tag matches. She gets a pin on Roxanne. Great. That makes her look really strong, but it makes Roxanne look kind of weak. Then a couple weeks later, we do another tag match. This time it's 10 women in there. And of all 10 women, the one you choose to take a pinfall is the top women's champion in your division. And she gets pinned by Zelta, who also just got here, thereby making Stephanie look less impressive, because if anybody can pin the champion, then it's not really important. It's not really a big deal that Stephanie pinned the champion. So Giulia gets a title match, but she ends up getting cost that match by Cora, but never actually singles her out and says, I want revenge on you. Then Steph gets a pinfall on Roxanne, which makes Roxanne look weak and Stephanie look strong. Then Zelta gets a pin on Roxanne, which makes Zelta looks strong, though not as strong, because again, Stephanie just got a pin, so it kind of evens them out as the same level of strong, with Roxanne doubly weak now because she got pinned in 2 consecutive tag matches by 2 different women with her title not on the line. So you have a very strong women's division, but with the Hickenbottom playbook, rest assured, we will find a way to make sure no women in the division look as strong as they possibly could.
It feels like they have this incredible influx of talent and they didn't have a plan outside of this multi-women match. You know what I mean? Like, it's a champagne problem, but it's legitimately a problem to have if you have 3 world-class women showing up and they all need to be kept strong at the same time. You have 2 titles. That should take care of at least 2 of them, and you have an alliance built. This just isn't the most efficient use of these women, unfortunately. Right. So I'm inclined to agree with you there. I really don't get why it's Roxanne taking the pin. It felt like Zelta Zaira versus Fallon Henley. I want to see that match. They were hinting toward it, and now we just have completely veered in another direction.
Now Kelani gets a one-on-one rematch with Fallon next week. They said that. So there's no
and you went out of your way to create this segment of like, you should get the pin. And then she just didn't.
The other thing is that you could easily do a thing where in order to this could qualify as the revenge that Giulia wants on Cora. Have Giulia pin Cora tonight. I like, she put a little extra stank on that one, book. She remembers how Cora cost her that title match on the CW premiere. Like, easily have Vic Joseph fill in that gap so we know what this means. And then if you don't have a plan to have Giulia versus Cora one-on-one, then at least you can close that little loophole off and move them on to other stuff. But that also appears like we're not doing that right now either. So listen, this was a lot of fun, but once again, no matter how great all of these women are, and they all looked very good at different points during this
very much
match,
so.
none of it matters if the Hicken booking is so terrible.
Hicken booking is so... That's such a fantastic new word that is now officially in our lexicon. And the other thing is, like, of all matches that a champion doesn't have to take a pin in, like, this is
that was the other thing.
Fun.
Zelta was trying to spear somebody, ended up spearing Jordynne Grace. So are they gonna like have a match between the two of them? Which, yes, please, but not for this reason.
So like, they had a match in Australia, and it was incredible. So I'm sure they want to run that back. But
like, because you missed a spear, obviously aimed for somebody else. Now I hate you and we must fight. That's just the laziest kind of, like, again, maybe they don't have one play in the playbook. They have 5, but those are the only plays they run. They just did a Sami Zayn meant to haluva kick somebody else and haluva kicked Roman Reigns. They just did that. To not to set up a match, but to like add tension to the pairing.
They've done this multiple times with the exact same move with a spear with the bloodline. Like we've seen literally exactly that.
I meant to do insert running move here to somebody else, and I accidentally did it to you, and now
in a multi-person situation. Yeah.
So they're doing the match next week to have Jordynne cost Zelta.
Good call, MD. Dr. Jack-O-Lantern. They just did this with Lola and Jaida in the tag match.
Yeah,
they did that a couple weeks ago.
They only friggin' do it, so that's what they do.
That's how we got here with Jaida and Lola.
Right.
That's
right. So Ryan Chikini says it's to put doubt in Roxanne. Well, mission accomplished. And then says Giulia may win. He says, which of the 3 new girls hasn't gotten a pin on Roxanne? There's a possibility because they have the deepest women's division ever. You can do on the same match you're doing an Iron Survivor with 5 women in it. Do a separate Fatal 4-way for the Roxanne title and have Giulia win that. And I agree. Don't do it. Or people are saying Roxanne will defend in the Iron Survivor match. And I'm like, why no, please do not make it.
Hey, I'm vulnerable. Let me also stack my odds against me. Makes no sense.
Don't do that. I think that she will defend against one woman on maybe they do a triple threat. Yikes. You don't need to do a bunch of people wrestling like 3 times on the same show. Every match on that show that's not an Iron Survivor match should be a singles match. So, like, just so we get that, you got plenty of moving parts in 2 different matches.
Or Fraxium versus a tag team too. I'll take that.
Well, or what I mean is 2-on-2 is the same thing as 1-on-1 to me.
Correct. Yes, I understand.
But
set of opponents versus set of opponents.
Yeah. So Ryan Chikini here's early prediction for the Iron Survivor. Sol, Ruka, Stephanie Vaquer, Giulia, Jacy Jayne, and Carmen Petrovich. And I would be really surprised to see Carmen and Sol in there, which doesn't mean that they won't do it, but they just haven't done a very consistent job of making Sol feel important the last couple of months. I don't know why. She's really, really good and absolutely belongs in a match like tonight where you're showcasing the best of the women. I would say Jaida Parker
100%
should find her way into that.
Yeah.
Because she beat Lola Vice tonight, she won that feud. She should get into it because of that. Although there's a very good chance that Lola Vice cost Jaida Parker her match versus whoever it is to get into the Iron Survivor because they can't stop doing shenanigans.
Jaida Parker should absolutely be in that match. That match requires a certain amount of ring generals too, because it's convoluted. Like you need some people with some experience. So you're gonna want to stack some of those in there.
I wonder if they bring down Mia Yim for that, just because.
Wouldn't hate it.
I mean, I would hate it because they should be only people who are in NXT, but she would make the match better, so I wouldn't hate that.
And she'd be doing a thing.
Only women who are in NXT. You keep telling us about how deep the NXT women's division is. You don't need to bring anybody else down from Raw or right now. And then there was another little thing here. We got a little NXT digital saying that Noah's Yoshiki Inmura, who just returned to Noah from an excursion in Japan, will be coming to do some stuff in NXT. Ryan Cicchini saying that glad the Noah and NXT connection isn't done, and curious how Inamura slides into the men's side. I don't know. I honestly don't know enough about him or what they're trying to achieve by him being here. I would love to see something like William Regal with the Charlie Dempsey thing. Like, I think you've been resting on your laurels a little too much. So I've handpicked an international technical wrestler to and have William Regal pick extra hard opponents for Charlie Dempsey to defend the thing against, because he's trying to give tough love to his son. And again, if you're never going to tell us that that's the relationship, make it super obvious that he's doing tough love dad stuff. And he's being like, I want you to be your best, and the only way you can be your best is by fighting the best and beating the best. Here's the best. And the guy, handpicked dude, is Inamura.
Yes. So I am a bit confused because generally you don't come back from excursion to go to another place, but they've never had a relationship like this before, I don't think. Something that Sean has said is that the relationships with TNA and with Noah are talent exchanges. And I know that's nitpicking, but I actually thought it was a good clarifying point, because there's been a lot of what is each side getting out of this? It's talent exchange. It's not, to me, that reads as different than a partnership, because what it says is the priority of that is to exchange talent. It's not to get your belts over. It's not to drive each other's pay-per-views. It's to exchange talent. So I think that's actually really good. I'm glad that the Noah door is swinging back over this way. I don't know a ton about Nomura. It's not Yuya Uemura. He's with New Japan. I saw somebody asking in the chat. But I'm intrigued. I like that these talent exchanges are open. I'm glad that the door is swinging both ways. Just kind of weird that you would get back from excursion to then just immediately turn around and go on another one. So we'll see what's to come. I don't know where he slots into. I don't know if he has history with Tavion Heights from when he was in their version of the G1 and the N1 over there. I'm just not up to date on the Noah product, unfortunately. Follow Lyric for that. Lyric Wrestling. She's unbelievable. She has the beat on pretty much all Japanese wrestling. She's incredible. Follow at Lyric Wrestling for all of that delicious stuff. She's incredible.
Yep.
It's like kind of upsetting how much younger she is than me and how much cooler she already is than me. Like, it's like almost a decade. So, and she's like 200% cooler than me. So, it's a shame.
Isn't that always the way with these kids?
It is, especially considering that means she's 14. Because as you know, I'm 24.
Right.
So.
Exactly. So she's achieved so much at such a young age. So we have two more punts. Meet Normus says Jubilee Moriarty.
Very nice.
And Laugh Legend.
That's very sweet. I like that one. Busaiku Glee, I gotta say, really, that took me for a ride today. That was a good one.
That's good. And Electrical Mayhem says Prozac Sabre Jr.
My savior on so many fronts.
Luis telling us that Inamura is a heavy hitter, big bulky bastard. He's a fun watch and was paired with Briggs during the undercard matches in the N1 tournament. That said, surprised it was him and not someone like Iho de Wagner Jr., Segura, or even Kino were there, but cool stuff, says Lee. So there you
go. Yeah, Segura was the name that I had heard thrown around by people who do follow Noah. He is a big dude. I know that much about him. He's a brick.
MD Turk Duckin says, is happy to carbon a pun. It would count in this case. Thank you very much. Kylie the Gamer Princess says, thank you both for so much for all y'all do. Love y'all lots.
We love you, Kylie. We love you so much.
Yes. And Meat Norma says, thanks to Manchester for acknowledging Meat on AEW. Apparently that was the thing that happened. We got one thing for the jukebox, and then we're out of here. No more jukeboxes, please. We'll get out of here in time to make our 2-hour thing, which should be nice. Meat Normus says, may Gabagool be with us all and our souls. Meat forever, sometimes veggies, maybe some Wheatleys, FFS. And then he has asked a dealer's choice, which would be, I guess, you, to do the Hard Times promo. Because it is Hard Times.
I have to think on this one. Because it's not Braun Strowman. It can't be Ludwig Kaiser because that's just so mean. I think Linda needs... No, Ricky Rainbow. Ricky Rainbow doing the Hard Times promo. Yep. That's the move.
Hello.
Hey, Ricky.
Hello. All right. First of all, I would like to thank the many, many fans throughout this country that wrote cards and letters to Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, while I was down. Secondly, I want to thank Jim Crockett Promotions for waiting and taking the time, because I know how important it was. Starcade 85 is to the wrestling fans. It is to Jim Crockett Promotions and Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. With that, I got what I wanted. Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a whole lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor amongst thieves in the first place. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work. They got 4 or 5 kids, can't pay their wages, can't buy the food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them, go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job for 30 years. 30 years, they give him a watch, kick him in the butt and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard times. That's hard times. And Ric Flair, you put hard times on this country by taking Dusty Rhodes out. That's hard times. And we all had hard times together. And I admit, I don't look like the athlete of the day I'm supposed to look. My belly's just a little big. My hiney's a little big. But, brother, I am bad. And they know I'm bad.
We do.
If you will. Thank you.
Are you very familiar with the Jim Crockett Promotions vehicle?
Is Jim Crockett related to Davy Crockett? Because I know he was very famous for wearing a hat made out of a raccoon.
A little different, okay. But I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
Right. No, just I guess I'm not as familiar with the Jim Crockett Promotions.
Okay. It's all good. I was just wondering.
Tune in tomorrow night after Kate does the ROH review. Behind the paywall on Fightful Select, Alex and Kate are going to review tonight's episode of Dynamite and just hang out and be silly and make everybody put a smile on their faces. So it'll be fun for everyone.
It will be. I hope to see you there, Ricky.
Oh, I'll be available in case anyone wants to send in a sour chat at sourchats.com and request me to make an appearance. I will be glad to sing whatever song you like. Or a wrestling promo. Is it called promo or promo? Promo.
It's a promo. It's a promo.
It's a promo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like if you're pro people named Mo.
Exactly. Like if you loved Mariano Rivera, you're pro Mo. Yeah.
Not anti Mo.
You're pro.
But you're you anti Curly and you're pro Mo. Keep cool, gabagoos.